3 civilizations, 3 continents, thousands of years apart. The Vedic tradition prescribed a breathing ratio of 1, 2, 3. Ancient Egypt encoded the same ratio in the Temple of Karnak sacred breath rituals. Taoist masters in China called it tu na, the art of expelling the old and drawing in the new, and used the same 3-part timing. Modern neuroscience just confirmed why it works. And it changes your brain in under 3 minutes. In 2002, 2 researchers at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden published a finding so striking that it was initially rejected by 3 peer-reviewed journals. Eddie Weitzberg and John Lundberg had measured nitric oxide levels in human nasal passages during different breathing patterns. What they found was this: humming, specifically the extended nasal exhalation of humming, increased nitric oxide production in the nasal sinuses by approximately 1,500% compared to silent nasal breathing. 1,500%. Not a small effect, not marginal. A complete biochemical state change triggered by a specific breathing pattern that 3 ancient traditions had been prescribing for thousands of years. The Vedics called it Bhramari pranayama, the humming bee breath. The Egyptians performed it in specific temple initiation rituals. The Daoists encoded it in tu-na practice as the foundation of longevity cultivation. All 3 used the same ratio. All 3 described the same effect. None of them had read each other's texts, but the story goes deeper than breathing. Nitric oxide, the molecule your body produces when you hum, is not just a blood vessel dilator. It is a quantum signaling molecule. At the nanoscale, nitric oxide regulates electron transfer chains, the same quantum tunneling processes that power cellular respiration. The 3 ancient traditions that prescribed this breath were not just describing biology. They were describing a practice that operates at the quantum level of cellular function. The Vedics called the force being cultivated Prana. The Egyptians called it Ka. The Taoists called it Chi. Modern biophysics calls it bioelectromagnetic field regulation. 4 names. 1 phenomenon. 3,000 years of independent verification. To understand why the ancient ratio works, you need to understand one piece of anatomy. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the human body. It runs from the brainstem through the heart, lungs, and diaphragm all the way to the abdomen. It is the primary pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest, repair, digestion, immune regulation, and what neuroscientists call cardiac coherence, the state in which the heart and brain synchronize their electromagnetic fields. Research from multiple peer-reviewed studies confirms one consistent finding: the exhalation phase of breathing activates vagal tone far more powerfully than inhalation. Specifically, when exhalation is 2 to 3 times longer than inhalation, vagal tone increases measurably, heart rate variability improves, cortisol drops, and the prefrontal cortex, the seat of clear cognition and emotional regulation, becomes more active. This happens within 3 minutes. The ancient ratio inhale for 1 count, hold for 2, exhale for 3 is not arbitrary. The 1 count inhale primes the diaphragm. The 2 count retention allows full oxygenation and CO2 accumulation, which is the actual trigger for the next breath reflex, not oxygen depletion. The 3 count exhale 3 times the inhale maximizes vagal activation. This is the precise ratio that generates the largest measurable shift in autonomic nervous system state in the shortest period of time. The Vedic Anulom Vilom prescription: inhale 1 unit, retain 2, exhale 3. The Egyptian initiation breath prescription: the same ratio, described in the Book of Breathings, a funerary text encoding living practice. The Taoist tu-na prescription: short draw, brief hold, long release the same structure. Modern physiology confirms they were all right. The Vedic tradition did not treat breath as relaxation. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, composed approximately 400 CE but encoding practices far older, describe pranayama as the fourth of 8 limbs of yoga. Not a warm-up, not a stress management technique, the fourth stage in a precise technology for expanding the field of awareness. Patanjali states, pranayama removes the veil that covers the light of knowledge. The veil is the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight state, that contracts awareness to the immediate and the personal. The breath protocol removes it, not metaphorically, through a measurable cascade of neurochemical events, beginning with vagal activation and ending with default mode network quieting, the reduction of self-referential mental chatter. Bhramari pranayama, the humming bee breath, is the Vedic practice that most directly targets the nitric oxide pathway. The practice is simple. Inhale through the nose 1 count, retain 2 counts, exhale through the nose with a sustained hum 3 counts. The humming extends and deepens the vagal activation of the exhalation. The nasal pathway maximizes nitric oxide production in the sinuses. The retention allows complete alveolar gas exchange. Vedic texts specify this practice for reduction of anger and anxiety, improvement of memory and concentration, activation of what they call ajna, the third eye center, the neurological correlate of which is the prefrontal cortex and pineal region. Prana, the force being cultivated, is described in the Rig Veda as the quantum of life. Prana is the source of all. Everything is established in prana. Modern biophysics describes this as the bioelectromagnetic field, the coherent electromagnetic oscillation produced by living cells that regulates intercellular communication at speeds far faster than chemical signaling. The Vedics were measuring the same thing with a different instrument. The Book of Breathings, Shai and Sensen in Egyptian, is one of the most misunderstood texts in Egyptology. Scholars have categorized it as a funerary text, a guide for the dead. But its deeper function, increasingly recognized by researchers, was as an initiation manual for the living, a precise instruction for the practice of conscious breathing as a technology for state transformation. The text prescribes inhalation of the ka, the vital force, through the nostrils in a specific pattern. It describes the ka as entering the body on the breath and animating the physical form with a force that is simultaneously biological and cosmic. The ratio prescribed, confirmed through analysis of the breath counts, encoded in the ritual syllable patterns, is a short inhalation, a moderate retention, and an extended exhalation. 1, 2, 3. The Egyptian ka is traditionally translated as the vital force or double, the animating energy that makes the body alive. In the coffin texts, the ka is described as the breath of life that comes from the mouth of the god and enters into the nostrils of the living. This is not mythology. This is a description of a physical process, the intake of a force through nasal breathing that the Egyptians had mapped with extraordinary precision. The ka enters through the nose. It is cultivated through specific breath ratios. It animates the body and extends beyond it as a field. This is the Vedic prana. This is the Daoist chi. This is the bioelectromagnetic field of modern biophysics. 3 names, 1 reality. The same nasal breath as the entry point. The Taoist tradition encodes its breath philosophy in 5 characters. Tu na, expel the old, draw in the new. The Zhuangzi, written approximately 300 BCE, describes the breath practice of the Zhenren, the true person, who breathes not from the throat, but from the heels. This is a precise anatomical instruction. Breathe diaphragmatically, not thoracically. Engage the full depth of the breath mechanism. Taoist longevity texts, the Daoyin tradition, specify the 2-na ratio as a short inhalation through the nose, a brief natural retention, and a long, slow exhalation. The exhalation is always the longest phase. The qi cultivated through this practice is described in the Tao Te Ching as the valley spirit never dies. It is called the mysterious feminine, the gateway of the mysterious feminine. This is called the root of heaven and earth. Dimly visible, it seems as if it were there, yet use will never drain it. The gateway of the mysterious feminine is the breath. The Tao, the quantum field, beneath all phenomena, is accessed through the same nasal breath that delivers nitric oxide to the nervous system. The Taoists had mapped this pathway 2,300 years before Weitzberg and Lundberg. Let us be precise about what the 1, 2, 3 breath does biologically. In the first 30 seconds, nitric oxide production in the nasal sinuses increases up to 1,500% during humming exhalation. Nitric oxide enters the bloodstream, dilates blood vessels, increases cerebral blood flow. In the first 60 seconds, vagal tone increases measurably. Heart rate variability, the single best biomarker of autonomic nervous system health, improves. Cortisol begins to drop. In the first 3 minutes, the prefrontal cortex becomes more active. The amygdala, the threat detection center, becomes less reactive. The default mode network begins to quiet. This is the state the Vedics called sattva, clarity, luminosity, coherence. The state the Egyptians called the ka, fully animating the body. The state the Daoists called alignment with the Tao. Modern neuroscience calls it parasympathetic dominance with prefrontal activation. 3 names, 1 brain state, 3 minutes to get there. Before the full practice, try this right now. Close your mouth. Breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds. Now exhale slowly through your nose with a quiet hum for 6 to 9 seconds. Notice what shifted in your body. That shift, in under 15 seconds, is the beginning of what 3 ancient traditions were prescribing. Here is the question worth sitting with. The Vedics, Egyptians, and Taoists developed in complete isolation. No documented exchange of breath practice at this level of precision. And yet all 3 arrived at the same ratio, the same nasal pathway, the same description of a vital force cultivated through the breath, the same claim that this force is simultaneously biological and cosmic. The simplest explanation is also the most profound. They were all observing the same thing. Not a belief, not a metaphor, a direct observation through careful, systematic, embodied inquiry of what actually happens when a human being breathes in a specific way. Gnosis, direct knowledge, is not mysticism. It is empiricism without instruments. The body as the laboratory. Here is what this means for you precisely. Your autonomic nervous system is running a default program right now, a pattern of activation that was set without your conscious input by stress, habit, environment. That pattern is not fixed. The breath is the only function of the autonomic nervous system that is also under voluntary control. It is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, the gateway as the Tao Te Ching described of the mysterious feminine. 3 ancient traditions found this gateway independently. Modern neuroscience confirmed it. And in 3 minutes, you can walk through it. We are going to do the full practice now. Find a comfortable seated position, spine upright if possible, hands resting on your thighs. Close your eyes. Take 2 natural breaths, no counting, no shaping. Just notice the breath as it is right now. Notice its rhythm, its depth, its quality. This is your baseline. In 3 minutes, it will be different. Inhale slowly through the nose for 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. Hold gently for 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now exhale through the nose with a soft hum for 9 counts. Let the hum be quiet, almost internal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, inhale 3. Hold 6. Exhale with hum 9. One more time. Inhale 3. Hold 6. Exhale with hum 9. Let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Notice what has changed. The Vedics called this sattva. The Egyptians called this the ka fully present. The Daoists called this alignment with the Tao. Next time on Quantum Gnosis, every ancient tradition described the same quantum field. The Bhagavad Gita called it Brahman. The Hermetics called it the All. The Taoists called it Tao. Quantum physics just gave it a 5th name. Ancient wisdom, quantum proof, direct knowing. This is Quantum Gnosis.